Good afternoon. I hope you're all enjoying this first session of SAHIC, our investment of tourism and hotel investment conference in Panama, which we're very proud to host, and that we're very sure that it will be very productive to everybody. So, as you all know, we've been 2.5 years waiting for this moment to meet again, not only with SAHIC, but at many conferences around the world. So as I said this morning, this is a great time to rethink, to think about the future in a different way. And this is what we've been focusing on doing in Panama. I don't know how many of you have already had the opportunity to get to know our beautiful country, but this is a country that for hundreds of years has positioned itself as a hub, and it has a lot of history behind that, which is also very interesting for tourism, by the way. And now we are trying to definitely move forward with a strategy that also allows for today's visitors, for today's types of visitors, to also get to know the culture and the nature all around our country, as well as our vibrant Panama City. So here's a presentation. I hope you all enjoy what we are about to share. So a bit of general information. Again, we're not sure if all of you know Panama. So Panama is a very small country located right at the heart of the Americas. We're talking about a country that has had a steady GDP growth for the last decade and a half or two. And also, it's one of the fastest growing countries at this moment. We grew 15% last year, year over year. And we have also one of the highest GDP per capita in the Americas, or in Latin America. Also, we are a country that has a very, let's say, controlled inflation rate also. So let's say one of the most attractive elements for investments in our country is not only the social, the political stability, but also the macroeconomic stability that we've had for years. Also important is the fact that we are also set to grow at the highest rate in Latin America for this year. This is also part of the story of Panama, our resilience and our ability to get back on our feet after this difficult pandemic throughout the world, having this 7.3% growth rate projected for this year. And also, important to look at is how we've been able to attract investment at a steady rate throughout the years. So our FDI, the last couple of years, we share here the pre-pandemic investment amounts. So we certainly have a very steady flow of capital to our country based on all the elements we mentioned before. So we continue to be an attractive country. We are a bit above, we have been a bit above our peers in the region as far as investment is concerned. All right, so as far as our vision, what are we aiming for in Panama? I mentioned this morning that we've been able to approve for the first time ever in our country a sustainable tourism master plan. I mean that this is the first time it's been approved by the president and our cabinet. So before we didn't, even though we had very interesting and very attractive tourism initiatives in the country, and we've also had plans, but this is the first time we're really executing a plan. We were able to approve it also at the beginning of the President Cortizo's administration, and the vision we set forth is to be recognized as a world-class sustainable tourist destination due to the extraordinary richness and diversity of our natural and cultural heritage and the quality of its service. The previous panel was talking about the importance of sustainability. We believe that will be the norm for the future, and that today's consumers are not only, let's say, preferring sustainable experiences in tourism, but are more and more demanding sustainable experiences in tourism. So I mentioned before the tourism plan approved by the cabinet. Also, several other elements that are aligned. So we have sort of having the stars aligned in our country, where we have the deployment of initiatives. One of them is the $100 million loan from the IDB approved and is currently under execution. And this is focused on 7 of the 8 priority destinations according to the master plan throughout the country. So we're focusing on improving the experience of visitors with water, with sewage, with airports, with electricity, roads. So it is an interinstitutional execution focus, although we manage the loan from the Authority of Tourism. Also important, I mentioned this early in the morning, the fact that we have $771 million in projects by other entities in the government, also on these 8 priority destinations to improve the experiences. And also important is that we are we have, for the first time, a steady allocation of promotion funds in Panama. 5 years ago, the International Promotion Fund Prontour was created, and starting this government, we're the first ones to allocate funding, allowing for a steady promotion internationally beyond one government and the next. So the idea is that beyond the finalization of this government, that the promotion can continue beyond 2024 and have a steady, steady promotion and visitor attraction. This is the location of the 8 destinations within the country. We won't have time to go into each one, so anybody that can be interested in more information, particularly about any of these sites, or just in general more information, you can approach the team of the Authority of Tourism for more information. So we have the Panama City, and we have in the western part Bocas del Toro, Tierras Altas, and Boquete. In the central part of the country, Santa Catalina, Pedací, Riviera Pacifica, and then you have Portobello in the Caribbean as a town that attracts part of the historical importance as well as the nature that surrounds it and the culture that's embedded in Portobello. So a bit of how are we focusing to present our country. First of all, this is Panama seen from above. This is Panama laying down. You have Colombia on the south, and Costa Rica would be on the left-hand side. The geological story of Panama has everything to do with our importance as a hub. According to geologists and scientists, the emergence of the Isthmus of Panama is one of the most important geological events to happen in the last 60 million years. So this is a very unique story that is told in the Biomuseo, the only museum that has been designed by Frank Gehry in Latin America. And the story is as follows, and it's actually based on information by the Smithsonian. So when the Isthmus emerged 3 million years ago, there used to be one ocean, so basically 2 oceans were created. The climate of the Earth, the currents of the Earth changed, and the climate of the Earth changed. So basically, the biodiversity of the planet changed due to the emergence of the tiny isthmus, and also the biodiversity connected from the north to the south. So this is why in Panama you'll find species that you won't find maybe in North America or South America or vice versa. And again, this is what any of you can see in this world-class museum located right at the entrance of the canal, where visitors are invited to explore then Panama as a living museum once you finish going through it. But this also takes me into the importance that we have of the alliance with the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute that has been in Panama for over 100 years. So we have all this scientific information, even considering that because of their research, one of the research centers they have is considered the most intensively studied tropical forest in the world. This is why we have moved forward with a strategy focused called Tourism Conservation Research that was actually launched in Panama over 20 years ago. This is actually, it was at the origin of Hotel Gamboa, led by Bern Resorts when it was originally founded. And then we have sort of reactivated this strategy. We invited the Dr. Ayala that created the strategy, and now we are working under this tourism model that is really now, we believe, more attractive for today's visitors based on the preferences of travelers than it was 20 years ago. So this focus, again, is on trying to attract this focus of traveler, even though we know that all types of travelers will come to our country, but once we focus and target our marketing and the tourism product development, we are trying to attract this type of traveler called the discerning traveler, which appreciates, let's say, contact with local communities, local cultures, and also cares about the preservation of the environment. So we have now a country that's actually more than 30% protected in national parks. Also, we have 7 different variety of cultures that you have in Panama that sort of presents the perfect scenario for this type of traveler that we have today. And this is also taking into consideration one of the major trends that we're seeing in travel. We're talking about the transformative experiences or transformative travel. Well, people are looking for this sense of purpose when they visit a country or any place. They want to connect with the culture. They want to have a change in experience when they visit. So we are also working with our destination to create more and more of these types of experiences. And again, based on these unique characteristics, we believe Panama is an ideal place as a laboratory to push forward these types of initiatives. And we are certainly getting a lot of initial recognition now that we've started implementing all this. Focused again, not only on the fact that we are one of 3 countries in the world that are carbon negative, speaking of the topic of climate, but also 30% protected in land and sea, and all these variety of communities and cultures that I bet many of you maybe might not be aware of, because of the fact that Panama has mostly been known because of our modern and vibrant city, which will continue to be an attraction in our country. One of the main projects we are working on that pushes forward in this strategy, I can't go through all the projects, but certainly this one I'd like to share is a project called 1,000 Kilometers of Trails, where we are implementing and rehabilitating trails throughout the country to place value to the natural assets that we have. So we're integrating also local communities to make sure they benefit from these trails. Otherwise, we believe it's the only way for real sustainable tourism to happen is when the local community can benefit from it, because then they will be the ones that will take care of the most of the area, make sure it's clean, make sure that they defend it at all costs. So this is really the work that we believe needs to be done at this moment, and we've been also making the best of the pandemic for this. Some of the international recognition we received, I actually had an interview today with the Travel to Latam group. They shared this article on how UNESCO has highlighted our tourism master plan, because the comment we received was that it focuses with an innovative focus as far as sustainable tourism is concerned for the future. And the same way we received an award as the best destination on this category, the future of travel, from Newsweek magazine, again recognizing our particular focus on how we are involving local communities in this implementation. Also important to share is that a few weeks ago, or a month ago, we had Adventure Next in Panama with over 100 international companies getting together in a marketplace, getting together and sharing. And we also had this declaration where we wanted to make sure that because we have the chair of a Central American Council, we all committed together to this idea of a tourism for the future, of preparing for the future of tourism, and also inviting other ministers of tourism of the region. And then we received also support of the declaration from the UNWTO. So taking on this idea also on how we believe Panama as a hub and our natural attraction as a natural hub. So this takes us into our strength as an events hub. So Panama, as we shared before, because of our geostrategic position, has many strengths because of it. But also, this is why we've now, before the pandemic, we had 87 direct flights to Panama City. That was the most in Latin America. Now we are at around 76. So we're very fast recovering our connectivity. And because of this, and connected to this also, we've recently inaugurated the Panama Convention Center. This is a brand new convention center that has the capacity to host around 24,000 people. And again, pushing forward to the positioning we have as a hub, and in this case, as an events hub, and located actually right next to the Bio Museo, right at the entrance of the Panama Canal, really supporting the positioning for our country. Also, again, the idea of a hub, in this case as a cruise hub, we just inaugurated or started operations in a brand new port terminal in the Pacific to complement the existing cruise terminal in the Caribbean, and creating a unique characteristic because we are basically the only country that has 2 ports and also a canal connecting both. So a few other items to finalize. Another important characteristic that we've implemented, or initiative that we've implemented, is a tourism cabinet. So this is something that was started in this administration. As I mentioned, $771 million in projects. Moving forward, this Friday, actually, we are reactivating the actual meetings of the cabinet, in this case, in one of the 8 priority destinations, to, again, propose how can we, from other institutions in the government, improve the experiences in these priority destinations. The destination marketing organization I mentioned before also, as well as specifically focus in investments. We definitely would be more than eager or interested in sharing with any of you that might want more information on the different, let's say, incentives that we have for tourism investments. One of them is Law 180, where we offer exonerations of import taxes, property taxes, income taxes, and others, based on different types of tourism products. Also, Law 122, which is actually right now getting an update in the Assembly, in the Asamblea or the Senate. This particular incentive is focused on the fact that 20,000 of the 32,000 rooms, hotel rooms in Panama, are located in Panama City. So the idea right now is, with this sustainable tourism model, to decentralize tourism and really also lengthen the stay and increase the spending per visitor in our country. And finally, the idea of this article within Law 80 that focuses on special tourism products. So we're talking about agro-tourism, rural tourism, ecotourism, sports, scientific, cultural, ethnic and health, amusement parks, aquariums, private museums, dolphinariums, conservation activities, and exhibitions of protected species. This also allows for different incentives to share with investors that are looking to invest in our country. And again, just to finalize as a final note, the idea of all this is that we are truly certain that we are moving in the right direction as far as what the fastest growing segment of travelers is looking for today. But we certainly need, besides the investment from the government sector, of all the investment that we're making, we certainly need the private sector to go hand in hand with the government and to attract capital and to implement these innovative solutions to move forward and to really generate the impact that we know we can create from tourism as a tool for development and as a tool for growth in our country. So thank you very much. I hope you've all enjoyed. And any questions, again, we are more than eager to support.